one of the things you should never do as a leader is you should never penalize or discipline your team in front of their teammates,
Mm.
because that sets the person aside as somebody that made a mistake. And whether or not it's right, whether or not it's perceived, the other teammates will see him as less effective than they are. And that could create a lot of animosity. It also embarrasses that team member in front of his teammates. So when you have to discipline somebody, you take them aside one on one. But on the other side of that coin, when you have a really favorable result that one of the teammates has achieved in that project, you bring the team together and you praise that person in front of the other team. What that does is that gives him a sense of success and a sense of accomplishment. It also teaches the other team mates that when you do that, you receive praise. They
Mm.
want to emulate that. They want a piece of the pie too. So they're going to work harder to get that praise. And I'll tell you something right now, people will work much harder for praise than they ever will for money. That's a universal rule that I fully believe in. It's set in stone. People will work harder for praise and for recognition than they ever will for money.
Mm.
That's human nature. So discipline in private, praise in public.
And that goes to why you don't, I think, pick a favorite, correct? Because you want everybody to
Exactly.
work for that.
Exactly. There should be no favorites on a team. Every team member is special. Every team member is equally important. There's no one team member that is less important. In Japan, in the Japanese restaurants, they set one day aside to uh, give praise and respect to the dishwasher. The reason being that it doesn't matter if you have award winning teppanyaki chefs cooking the food for the people. If you don't have clean dishes, you don't have a restaurant. So each member of the team in that restaurant is equally important. They have different jobs, but they have equally important tasks.
I
So
love because
that's why they do that.
you mentioned before that a really good leader is someone that would never tell one of his employees to do something that he would never do.
Exactly. That is something people will pay attention to. If you expect people to do things that you're not willing to do yourself, right, you're an ineffective leader because you're expecting something that is unrealistic. If I, let's say in security, if we have a situation where we have to go in to a building and flush out a suspect because he's broken in, I send my team in, but I stay outside. If I don't have a really good reason for that, they're not going to want to go in there. So as a team leader, you have got to lead your team from the front, not the rear. You can't expect them to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And when you can demonstrate that you're willing to go ahead and lead from the front and do the things that you're expecting your team to do, they'll see that. And that's part of leadership through example. That's an important aspect of leadership through examples. They will follow that example and they will go ahead and do the things that you need for them